So in this work power energy, we are going to discuss the spring concept. Spring. Okay, suppose here there is a uniform spring. It is the uniform spring whose one end is fixed. It is a uniform spring whose one end is fixed. At the other end, actually whenever no force is applied on the spring, the length of the spring is equal to say L0. That is the natural length of the spring. L0 is natural length or the original length of the spring. Natural length of the spring. That means when no force is applied on this spring to extend or to compress, at that time the natural length of the spring is L0. Okay, now when you apply the force on external force on a body on the spring, when you apply an external force on the spring in this direction, so that the spring is extended. Okay, then as long as the spring is extending, so because of application of the external force here, suppose the spring is extended up to this. The spring is extended from A to B. So from A to B, this is the extension of the spring, you know. That extension of the spring is say X. Here you see, whenever by means of this applied force, when the spring is extended and whenever it is extended up to B, if you just remove the force, external force applied on the spring, what happens? When you remove the external force on the spring, what happens? Here the spring is extended from A to B by applying the force. That's why whatever the distance between A and B, that is the extension of the spring. Okay, now at the position B, whenever you remove the external force F on the spring, what happens? No, already because of applied force, this one end of the spring is displaced from this position to this position, means this is equal to increase in length of the spring. No, the increase in length of the spring is called extension. So here the extension is equal to X. Extension is equal to X. Okay, extension or increase in length of the spring. Extension or increase in length of the spring. Increase in length of spring, that is equal to X. Okay, so because of the sectional force applied on the spring, the one free end of the spring is displaced from A to B. That's why this is here, whatever the displacement of this end of the spring from A to B, that amount of length of the spring is extended. That's why the AB distance is equal to extension of the spring. Now whenever the free end of the spring is at the point B, if you remove the external force, what happens? Come back. Yeah, it come back to the, here it come back to the natural length. In order to come back to the natural length, shall we apply any force on the spring? Because of applied force, the spring is extended through a length equal to X. Then when you remove the force, then automatically it come back to the original position. No, the spring come back from B to A. That means it becomes, again it occupies the natural length. So to come back to the natural length, is there any forces applied on the spring? To extend the spring, we applied some force. To extend the spring, we applied some force F, external force F in towards right. Okay, but after extension, when you remove the external force, automatically it come back to the initial position or natural length. Means definitely whenever the spring is extending or whenever the size of the spring changes, whether it is compressed or extended, in such case some force is developed inside the spring which brings the spring back to its original position or original shape after removal of the external force. Such force developed in the spring is called the restoring force, or that is also called as the spring force. So spring force is developed whenever the spring is extended or compressed. Whenever the spring is extended or compressed, then immediately, because of change of this length of the spring, immediately some force is developed inside the spring which brings the spring back to its original position, original size. Such type of force developed in the spring is called restoring force. Restoring, that means brings back to the original position or original size. Such type of force developed in the spring is called the restoring force, which is also called as the spring force. Okay. Here, whenever at the position B, whenever the external force is removed, as it come back to the original position, so that the spring come back to the natural length, then same amount of force would be developed in the spring. No, otherwise it would not come back to the original position or original. It cannot acquire the original shape. That's why same amount of the spring force is developed in the spring. That means here the applied force is equal to spring force developed in the spring is equal to applied force only, but it is in opposite direction. The spring force developed in the spring is always opposite to the applied force. Okay, now here you see, as long as the extension of the spring increases, as long as the extension of the spring gradually increases, then spring force developed in the spring is also increases, no? Because when extension is more force is required to bring the spring back to its original position. That's why the extension of the spring is, whenever the extension of the spring is more, the spring force developed in the spring is also more. Due to that, more force is to be applied to extend more. Okay, that's why the applied force is directly proportional to the extension of the spring. Applied force is directly proportional to extension of the spring. Or the spring force, of course here F is equal to Fs. Applied force, whatever the force applied on the spring, the same amount of spring force is developed. That spring force is, say, Fs. Spring force is Fs. Okay. Spring force is equal to Fs. The spring force developed in the spring is directly proportional to extension. When extension is more, spring force is also more, but both are in opposite direction. That's why you have to put minus sign. Okay. Or Fs is equal to, that means spring force developed is equal to some proportionality constant k into minus x, or spring force developed is equal to minus k into x. So spring force or restoring force. Spring force or restoring force developed in the spring. Spring force or restoring force developed in the spring is equal to minus kx. This minus kx, here minus sign is just, it indicates what here the spring force is developed always opposite to this extension or compression. Suppose if you compress the spring by applying force, then compression is in this direction. That means decrease in length is in this direction. At the same time, the spring force developed acts in this direction to bring the spring back to original position. That's why spring force is always opposite to the extension or compression in the spring. Extension or compression in the spring. So this is called spring force. Here the proportionality constant k is there, no? Such proportionality constant k. Such proportionality constant k is called the spring constant. Proportionality constant k is called spring constant or stiffness constant. Stiffness constant or force constant. It is also called as the force constant. So therefore, spring constant k is equal to, we can write, of course, just you take magnitude. Spring constant k is equal to Fs by x, no? Fs by x. When you consider the magnitude only, then that is equal to Fs by x. So what is the SI unit of spring constant? SI unit of k, that means spring constant, is, tell me, what is the SI unit of the spring constant? Yeah, very good. Pingu, very good. Immediately you responded. Newton, Fs means Newton, by x means meter. In CGS system, the unit of spring constant, CGS unit of spring constant is equal to force means dyne. Extension or compression is measured in, the extension or compression means nothing but length. That is measured in centimeter. That's why centimeter. What is the dimensional formula of spring constant? Dimensional formula of spring constant. Dimensional formula of spring constant. Dimensional formula of spring constant is how much? Is equal to. So here dimensional formula of spring constant means, sorry, dimensional formula of spring constant means we have to write first of all formula for spring constant. To write the dimensional formula of spring constant, first we have to write the formula for spring constant. Spring constant K is equal to Fs by X. Fs by X. Okay, to find the dimensional formula of spring constant, that is equal to dimensional formula of Fs by X. That is equal to Fs means, what is the dimensional formula of spring force? Spring force or any type of force that is having what dimension formula? Ml t to no. Ml t to power of minus 2. Force no. Force means mass into acceleration. Force means mass into acceleration. Mass dimension formula m into acceleration means L t to power of minus 2. Because acceleration means velocity by time. Velocity means distance by time. Then distance by time square. That by L by t square. So L t to power of minus 2 no. That's why force means ml t to power of minus 2 by distance means L. Okay, you said direct formula. Okay, very good. So therefore, dimension formula of spring constant K is equal to, we of course LL cancel now. Therefore, m t to power of minus 2 or that is also equal to m to power of 1, L to power of 0, t to power of minus 2. So this is the dimension formula of the spring constant. It is the dimension formula of the spring constant. What is the dimension of mass in spring constant? What is the dimension of mass in spring constant? Yeah, 1. Vamshi Krishna. If we compress the spring, will spring force reduce? No, even if you compress the spring force is directly proportional to extension or compression only. Whenever compression is more, spring force is more to bring the spring back to original position. That's why spring force is always directly proportional to extension or compression of the spring, but always opposite to each other. Because, yeah, I will upload. Okay, right. Here, whenever the extension is there in the spring force is developed in this direction. Suppose by applying external force here, if you compress like this, if you apply the external force like this, so that the spring is compressed. When you release them, automatically the spring come back to the original position, means the spring force developed is in opposite direction. No? So spring force is always opposite to the extension or compression. The spring force is always opposite to extension or compression. Okay, Vamshi Krishna. Right. So here spring force, because of that reason only I have taken the minus sign. Spring force is always opposite to extension or compression. Extension or compression. Okay. Now, whenever the spring is extended, whenever the spring is extended by a length x, what about work is done? We have to discuss some note points. We have to discuss based on this. Okay. Now, what is the work done by external force on the spring to extend by a length x? At the same time, what is the work done by the spring force? We have to discuss. Okay. Next. Okay. Now, note points. Note 1. Spring force, just you take magnitude. Spring force F is equal to Fs is equal to K into X. Of course, minus sign represents spring force is opposite, but when you consider the magnitude, Fs is equal to Kx. Okay, here this is a spring constant, no? On what factor spring constant depends? Spring constant K depends on nature of material of the spring. Here, the spring constant depends on the material with which the spring is made. Nature of the material means their elastic property. It depends on their elastic property. That's why spring constant or stiffness constant of the spring depends on nature of material of spring. Nature of material of the spring means we can write elastic property. Okay, next dimensions means you write dimension means length. Dimensions. Okay, here it was found that the spring constant K is inversely proportional to length. The spring constant is inversely proportional to length of the spring. Okay, now suppose there are two springs having spring constants K1, K2, lengths L1, L2. Where L is the natural length. Where L is the natural length of the spring. Here L is natural length. Natural length of spring or unstructured length. Okay, natural length of spring. Okay, now from this, suppose if you are given the two springs having different lengths and different spring constants, as spring constant is inversely proportional to length, then we can write K1 by K2 is equal to, we can write L2 by L1. No? K1 by K2 is equal to L2 by L1 like this. Okay, now note 2. Suppose we are given here, it is the spring of negligible mass. Spring of negligible mass. Okay, only because of external force only spring will extend or compress, not due to mass. That's why here mass of the spring is negligible. Mass of spring is negligible. Here mass of spring is negligible. Okay, next, suppose we are given one spring. In unstructured condition, the length of the spring is equal to, say L0. Length of the spring is L0. Now it is divided into, here the spring constant of the spring is say K. The spring constant of the spring is say K. Now the spring is divided into two parts having lengths L1 and L2. Here the given spring is divided into two parts having lengths L1 and L2. From the diagram, it is clear that L0 is equal to L1 plus L2. No, this is equation 1. Now the spring constant of this part is K1. Say the spring constant of this part is say K2. Actually, here K is the spring constant of entire spring. K is the spring constant of entire spring. Okay, now for this part of length L1, spring constant is say K1. For this part L2, and for this length of the spring, the spring constant is say K2. What about K1, K2? Just we are we are given L1. Just we are given L1 K and L0. These are only given. We are given just L0, L1, L2 and K value. Then what about K1, K2? We have to find. What about K1, K2? We have to find. Okay, already I said spring constant is inversely proportional to length. No? In case of original spring, spring constant K is inversely proportional to L0, we can write now. And here, in case of this one, spring constant K1 is inversely proportional to L1. Okay, therefore, you divide these two equations. When you divide these two equations, then K by K1 is equal to, we can write L1 by L0, no? Therefore, that implies, what about K1? That implies K1 is equal to K into L0 by L1. L0 by L1. This is equal to L0 means K into L1 plus L2 by L1. Okay, this is the formula for spring constant of the first part. Similarly, what about K2? K2 is equal to K into L0 by L2, or this is equal to K into L0 means L1 plus L2 by L2. This is the formula for spring constant of the second part, which is K2. Okay, suppose if we are given the next note point, once it was given in mains, suppose if the given spring is divided into two parts so that the lengths are in the ratio m:n. Here, the given spring is divided into two parts so that the lengths are in the ratio m:n. The lengths are in the ratio m:n. Then what about the spring constants of the two parts? That is the question. So here, note 3. Suppose there is a spring. There is a spring having spring constant K. It is divided into two parts here. This length is L1, this length is L2. Of course, these lengths are not given. Ratio is given. The given here, the given spring having certain length and spring constant K is divided into two parts so that the lengths of the two parts are in the ratio m:n. L1 is to L2 is equal to m:n is given. That means L1 by L2 is equal to m by n. No? L1 by L2 is equal to m by n. Now, from this formula, you see K1 is equal to K into, we got L1 plus L2 by L1. Okay, split them. K into, you split them. 1 plus L2 by L1, no? Okay, or you say this is say Km because it is divided into m:n, no? So you take this is Lm, this is Ln. Okay, so Lm by Ln. Lm, because we can easily remember these formulas like this. If you write the symbols like this, Lm is to Ln. Length of this mth part and length of this nth part. Lm by Ln is equal to, here also, Lm Ln. That is equal to m:n. Therefore, here, the total length of the spring is Lm plus Ln by Lm. Here also. Okay. In terms of Lm, Ln, I have written. That's all. So Lm by Ln. Therefore, K1 is equal to K into 1 plus Lm by Ln means we can write m by n, no? M by n. So therefore, that is equal to K into, when you take LCM, then you will get n plus m by n. This is the spring constant of this, first part, Km. Here, Km. Okay, next, similarly, how you can write Kn? Kn is equal to, like this only, K into n plus m by m we can write now. This is the spring constant of the second part. In this way, we can write. Sometimes ratios are given. The given spring is divided into two parts. Then what is the ratio of their spring constants? Ratio of their spring constants means already we know K is inversely proportional to length, no? That's why the ratio between the spring constants of these two parts, the spring constant of this part is Km, spring constant of this part is Kn. Okay, therefore Km is inversely proportional to this length Lm. Kn is inversely proportional to Ln. Therefore, divide these two. Km by Kn is equal to Ln by Lm now. Ln by Lm. That is equal to Ln by Lm means Lm is to Ln is equal to M is to N. Here it is N by M now. So in this way also we can find the ratio of the two parts. Ratio of the two parts we can find. Okay. Yeah, N by M. Right. Now, here whenever the two ends of the springs are moved by certain velocities, next note point. Next, fourth one. When springs are connected in series, springs are two springs. Springs are connected in series. Springs are connected in series means, you see, suppose when given springs are connected, so that one end of the spring is connected to the other end as shown in the figure like this. Of course, here one end is fixed. Here, the springs having spring constants K1 and K2 are connected end to end. The given two springs having spring constants K1, K2 are connected end to end here. That means the second end of one spring is connected to first end of the other spring like this. They are connected end to end. Then they are said to be connected in series. Because suppose in the case of this combination, if you apply the force on the combination of the two springs which are in series, F, then you see here whenever this, because of this external force, whatever the extension takes place in the spring, suppose this end of this this point A displaces up to this B. This is the total extension in the spring. Total extension in the spring is the total extension. If the total extension, the combination of the two springs is X, is the extension of the two springs are equal to X each? No. Based on the springs here, based on their spring constants, the extension takes place in different extensions takes place in the two springs. Suppose the extension of this spring is say X1, extension of this spring is say X2. Then total extension is equal to X1 plus X2. This is equation 1. When two springs are connected in series like this, and when you apply some external force on the spring system of two springs, then total extension, the combination of the two springs is say X. Then during this time, the extension of the first spring is say X1, extension of the second spring is say X2. Then the sum of the extensions of the two springs is equal to total extension of the spring X. Yeah, I'm going to explain. Vamshi Krishna. Okay. What is the mistake in the note 3? Note 3, tell me. Is there any wrong in the Raju? Raju, what is your doubt? You ask me. I will meet off you. Raju. Raju, I will unmute you. Okay. Raju, I unmuted you. Come on, you speak with me.
Sir.
Tell me.
Km equals to second step, sir. Second step last లో K into L plus Lm by Ln రాశారు సార్ మీరు. అక్కడ Ln by అక్కడే సార్, దాని పక్కన స్టెప్.
Ln by okay, very good. Here Lm by Lm means 1, Ln by Lm. Okay, very good. Ln by
Lm.
Ln by Lm. Okay, now what about the ratio? Is it sure?
1 plus
Km is equal to 1 plus Ln by Lm. Lm by Ln, Lm by Ln is equal to M by N. So Ln by Lm means N by M, no?
N by M.
Very good. Oh, okay, N by M. Right, very good. N by
M.
M. Here, when you take LCM, of course,
M plus
here you will
N.
get M. Here you will get M. Okay. Now,
Yes,
in this case, you will get this is equal to N now. Okay. Very good, now. Right. Now, so whenever the two springs are joined in series, and when external force is applied here, you see, then as both are in series, same spring force are developed in this spring and in this spring also, because whatever the spring force is applied here in this direction, this spring will extend with the force F in this direction. So spring force is developed. Whatever the spring force developed with the same spring force, this spring is also extended in this direction. That's why whenever two springs are connected in series, or whenever the two springs are connected such that the same spring force is developed in the two springs, then they are said to be connected in series. Okay, Karthi, is it clear to you? Karthi, now is it okay? Right. Now, so whenever the spring force is applied on the here, whenever an external force is applied on the combination of the two springs as connected like this, then whatever the spring force developed here, the spring force developed here is also same. That's why whenever two springs are connected in series, spring forces in the two springs are same. Spring forces in two springs are same. Okay. Now, here, whenever the two springs are connected in series and when external force is applied, whatever the extension takes place, then you replace this combination of the two springs with a single spring, so that for the same applied force, same extension would be taken place. Then the spring constant of that single spring is called the effective spring constant of this one. Suppose here, same spring having you take a single spring, you take a single spring having spring constant say K, so that when this amount of force is applied on the spring, this also extended by the same length from A to B. You replace these two springs by a single spring, okay, such that due to the application of the same force, the extension would be same. Then the spring constant of single spring is called the effective spring constant of series combination of the two springs. Effective spring constant of a series combination of the two springs. So in this case, what is this effective spring constant? Already we know, here you see, spring force developed in the spring, F is equal to, we can write K into X now. In this spring force F is equal to K into X. So here from this X is equal to F by K. Okay, here, now you see here, in this case, spring force in the two are same now. That's why spring force developed in the first spring, F is equal to K1 into X1, and for this F K1 in K2 into X2, because in both the spring force are same. Spring force developed in the spring is equal to K into X now. So K1 into extension of the spring X1. Similarly, here spring force developed is K2 into X2. Both are equal, and that is equal to external force. Now, from this from 1, X is equal to X1 plus X2 now. What is X here? X is equal to F by K. X1 means F by K1. X2 means F by K2. So that implies 1 by K is equal to 1 by K is equal to 1 by K1 plus 1 by K2. 1 by K is equal to 1 by K1 plus 1 by K2. Okay, this is whenever two springs having spring constants K1, K2 are connected in series. If the effective spring constant is K, then 1 by K, reciprocal of effective spring constant is equal to sum of the reciprocals of individual spring constants. Suppose if three springs are there, 1 by K1 plus 1 by K2 plus 1 by K3, you have to write like that. Okay, yeah. So now, or we can write K is equal to K1, K. When you take LCM and you write like this, K is equal to something, then you will get K1, K2 by K1 plus K2. It is the effective spring constant. So when two springs are connected in series, then what is the ratio of the restoring forces developed in the two springs? When two springs are connected in series, what is the ratio between the spring forces developed in the two springs? Spring force developed in the two springs is how much? When two springs are joined in series, the ratio of spring forces developed in two springs is F1 is to F2 is equal to how much? Tell me. When two springs are joined in series, then what is the ratio between the spring forces developed in the two springs is F1 is to F2 is equal to how much? F1, F2 are the spring forces developed in the two springs. When two springs are joined in series, the spring forces developed in the two springs are F1 and F2. Then what is the ratio between them? Tell me. What is the ratio between them? When two springs are joined in series, already I said, in both the springs, same spring forces are developed. 1:1. Okay, very good. Same spring forces are developed in the two springs. That's why ratio between the spring forces is equal to simply 1:1. 1:1. Okay, in this case, whenever two springs are joined in series, very good, Nana. Very good. Siddharth, he responded very quickly. Then Pingu, Madhu Mehta, Vamshi Krishna, these are also responded. Okay. So lightning response is from Siddharth M. Very good. So here, whenever the two springs are joined in series, as the same amount of spring force are developed, the ratio between them is equal to F1 is to F2 is equal to 1:2. No, the ratio between the spring forces developed in the two springs is equal to 1:1. Okay. Next. In this case, what about whenever the two springs are joined in series, what about the ratio between the extensions in the spring? What is the ratio between the extensions in the spring? Here you see, when two springs are in series, two springs are in series. When two springs are in series, the ratio between extensions in the two springs is x1 is to x2. That is equal to how much? Okay, here already we know ratio between extensions in the springs. I am asking. Okay, here you see the spring force developed F in each spring is equal to K into X. No, general formula. The spring force developed in each spring is equal to F is equal to K into X. Here spring force is constant in both the springs. Whenever two springs are connected in series, the spring force developed is same. No, implies extension in the spring is inversely proportional to K. We can write now from this, as spring force developed in the two springs is constant, same, then Kx is equal to some constant, or X is inversely proportional to K. No, therefore ratio between the extensions in the two springs is equal to, as it is inverse relation, K2 by K1 we have to write X1 by X2 is equal. That implies X1 is to X2 is equal to K2 is to K1. That means the ratio between the extensions of these two springs whenever they are connected in series is in the inverse ratio of their spring constants. inverse ratio of their spring constants. This is also very, very important. Okay. Next. Now springs are connected in parallel. Now springs are connected in parallel. Springs are connected in parallel. I think note 5 now. Fifth note now. Already we have completed fourth note, I think. Now fifth note to be discussed. Am I right? What is the next note point? Fifth, yeah. Okay. Springs are in parallel. Springs are in parallel. Springs are in parallel means, suppose when two springs are connected, when two springs having spring constants K1 and K2 are connected, so that connected to the block, so that whatever the, suppose the block is displaced by a distance x, then whatever the extension of the two springs, whatever the extension of the two springs, x only. That means whenever the two springs are connected, so that same extension takes place in the two springs, then they are said to be connected in parallel. When two springs are joined such that the extension is same in the two springs, then they are said to be connected in parallel. Or when two springs are connected such that, suppose if the block is displaced upwards, then same compression is there in both of them now. In that case also, they both are said to be connected in parallel. Okay. So here in this case, suppose if the two springs are connected like this, you see here it is the smooth horizontal surface. These are the rigid walls, vertical walls. Here it is a smooth surface, smooth surface. Now one block is kept over this. One block is kept over this. Here one spring is connected here, other spring is connected here, having spring constants K1 and K2. Here you see, whenever this is displaced by, whenever the block is displaced by a length x towards right, displaced by a distance x towards right, then what is the compression in this spring? Is the spring compressed or extends? Whenever the block is displaced towards right, is there is a compression or extension is there in the right spring? Compression. In the left spring? In the left spring, is the compression is there or extension is there? Extension. Okay, now you see, whenever the block is displaced here, the compression in one spring and extension in the other spring, if both are here, whenever the block is displaced here, compression in this spring and extension in this spring, both are same. In that case also, these two springs are said to be in parallel. The two springs are said to be in parallel. Okay, yeah, they are in parallel. So how we can define whenever the two springs are connected in parallel means, whenever the two springs are connected such that extension or compression in the two springs are same, or extension in one spring and compression in the other spring, both are same, then they are said to be connected in parallel. So when extension or compression, extension or compression in two springs, in the given springs, not only two, any number, in two springs are same, or extension in one spring, extension in one spring and extension in one spring and compression in the other spring. compression in the other spring. Are same, comma, then the two springs are said to be in parallel. Two springs are said to be in parallel. This is very, very important point. Now, whenever the two springs are connected in parallel, then what is the effective spring constant of the two? Effective spring constant of the two springs connected in parallel. So we have to derive the formula for that. Okay, right. Here you see. Suppose whenever the block is displaced by a distance x, then extension in this spring is x, extension in this spring is also x. Okay, suppose it is displaced by a, here the block is displaced by a distance x by applying force F. By applying force, of course, this may be equal to weight also. If you connect the spring like this, or whenever the spring is connected like this, if the spring is connected like this, suppose a block is kept over the smooth horizontal surface, smooth surface, and it is connected with the two springs like this, having spring constants K1 and K2, and a force F is applied here. Whenever the block is displaced by whenever the block is displaced by applying a force F through a distance equal to x, definitely both springs extended by same length. Both springs extended by same length. So extension the two springs, x1 is equal to x2 is equal to x in this case. Okay, but whenever it is displaced through certain distance here, immediately the here, because of extension, some spring force is developed. No, the spring force developed in the first spring is say F1, second spring is say F2. Because F is equal to Kx, extension is same in both the springs. K are different. When extension is same and K are different, definitely spring force are also different. No, that's why in this spring force developed is say F1. In this spring, the spring force developed is say F2. Okay, now you see, whenever the block is displaced up to certain distance, whenever the block is displaced up to certain distance here, and whenever the block is under equilibrium at this position, when block is under equilibrium due to applied force, because by applying force F, the block is displaced up to this and it is under equilibrium, that means net force is 0. So when block is under equilibrium, when block is under equilibrium, when block is under equilibrium, okay, then you see, whenever the block is under equilibrium, at that time, what are the forces acts on the block? Here mass of the block is say m. Then what are the forces acts on the block? Applied forces in this direction. Next, what are the force acts on the block? Whenever the block, by applying force here, whenever the block is displaced through a distance x, at the time, these two springs are there, no? These two springs, the spring forces developed in the two springs pulls this block backward by applying forces F1 and F2. Isn't it? Whenever the block is displaced by applied a force F in this direction through certain distance, then at the same time, because of extension of the springs by x, then spring forces are developed, and those spring forces developed pulls the block in backward direction. That's why on the block, two spring forces F1, F2 acts in opposite backward direction or towards left, and applied forces towards right. Whenever the block is displaced through a distance x, whenever it is under equilibrium, then net force must be 0. That means sum of the forces acts on the body towards right and towards left are equal. That's why F must be equal to F1 plus F2. Okay, this is equation 1. So whenever the springs are connected in parallel, then the total applied force is equal to sum of the spring forces developed in the two springs. Okay, in this case, suppose instead of two springs, a single spring is connected. Instead, you see exactly the block is kept at the same place. The block is kept at the same place, and instead of two springs, only one spring is connected. When same force is applied on a body on the block, it has to displace by the same amount. It has to displaced by the same amount as here, x. Then the spring constant of the single spring is called the effective spring constant of the two springs when they are connected in parallel. So whenever the two springs are replaced by a single spring, such that same extension takes place in the spring when same force is applied on the body or on the spring. Okay, then the springs are, then that is called effective spring constant of the spring. Whenever the effective spring constant is k for these two in parallel, then F is equal to applied force. F is equal to, because when this force is applied under equilibrium, same amount of spring force is developed here now. That's why spring force developed in this spring, same amount of spring force is developed in the spring. Here applied force in this direction, same amount of spring force is developed in opposite direction. That's why spring force developed is equal to k, effective spring constant k into x. So this is equation say 1. From this okay, this is equation 1. Next, spring force developed in the spring. This F1 can be written. How we can written F1? How we can write? F1 is equal to K1 into X. F2 is equal to K2 into X. No. Now, from this equation 1, sorry, it is 2. From 1, F is equal to F1 plus F2. What about F? From this formula, F is equal to Kx. No, is equal to F1 means K1 into X. F2 means K2 into X. X you cancel. Then implies K is equal to K1 plus K2. No, K is equal to K1 plus K2. That means when two springs are connected in parallel, then effective spring constant is equal to K1 plus K2. That means sum of the spring constants of the two. So when two springs having spring constants K1 and K2 are joined together like this, then what is the what is the effective spring constant? Means sum of the spring constants of the individual springs. Okay, now right, next here you see when two springs are joined in parallel, then ratio between their extensions of the two springs, extensions of two springs, extensions in the two springs or extensions of the two springs, x1 is to x2 is equal to dash. Tell me what is x1 is to x2? When two springs are connected in series, then what is the ratio between the extensions of the two springs? Come on, anybody else respond? When two springs are joined in parallel, what is the ratio between the extensions of the two springs? Extensions are same, no? Then only they are said to be parallel. That's why ratio between the extensions of the two springs is equal to 1:1. Ratio between the extensions of the two springs in this case is equal to 1:1. 1:1. Okay. Next, in this next point, when springs are in parallel, the ratio between spring forces developed in two springs. F1 is to F2 is equal to how much? We know whenever two springs are joined in parallel, extensions are same now. From the formula, F is equal to spring force developed in the spring, F is equal to Kx. In this, the extension is same in both the springs. That's why spring force developed is directly proportional to K now. Therefore, F1 is to F2. That means ratio between the spring forces is equal to ratio between their spring constants. So whenever two springs are joined in parallel, then ratio between the spring forces developed is K1 is to K2. Ratio between the spring forces developed is K1 is to K2. Okay, this is about series and parallel. Now, in this next note point, sixth note point. When a block of certain mass is connected with the two springs like this, what is the effective spring constant? Effective spring constant of these two springs. Effective spring constant of these two springs is equal to how much? Effective spring constant of these two springs is how much? Yeah, because whenever the block is displaced like this, here compression takes place, extension takes place here. Compression and extension both are same. That's why these two are in parallel. Whenever these two are in parallel, then effective spring constant is equal to sum of the individual spring constants, no? Sum of the individual spring constants. Okay. Next. Next one. When two springs, three springs are connected, as in the diagram. Here these two springs having spring constants K1, K2, K1, K2, and this is having spring constant K3. Then what is the effective spring constant, they may ask? Effective spring constant, they may ask. Are you hearing my voice or not? Are you hearing my voice or not? Already voice is coming now? No, Rakshit, it's not correct. Okay, right. Okay. Rakshit, you are not correct. That answer is not correct. Okay, I will explain. Okay, anybody else? Okay, we will see. Here you see. Here, whenever this block is displaced here, these two springs are having same extension, no? That's why these, okay. Rakshit, I think you are correct. Okay. Here these two springs are connected in parallel because extensions of the two springs are same. That's why these two are in parallel. So what is the effective spring constant of these two? Effective spring constant of these two is K1 plus K2. So you replace it by a single spring having spring constant K1, K2. Now, whenever it is extended like displaced like this, then compression in this spring and extension in this effective spring both are same. That's why These all are parallel now. Therefore, effective spring constant in this case is sum of these two. Effective of these two is K1 plus K2, and this one is K3. Okay, very good. You are correct. Okay, Rakshit, you are correct. Rakshit, you are correct. Okay, therefore, effective spring constant is equal to like this. Next, one more example. Actually, it is not the note point, it is example. Next, eighth one. Okay, here three springs having spring constants K1, K2, and K3 are connected as in the diagram like this. Okay, whenever it is displaced towards right, then it is compressed and the system of two springs extended. These two are in parallel series, no? Because whenever it is displaced like this, whatever the spring force developed here, the spring force developed here and here both are same. That's why these two are in series. Whenever these two are in series, effective spring constant is, this can be rewrite like this. You replace this series combination of the two springs by a single spring with their effective spring constant. It is K3. And what is the effective spring constant of these two when they are in series? Effective spring constant is, already I said, K1, K2 by K1 plus K2, no? Okay, now whenever these two are connected like this, then effective spring constant of the combination here is equal to, whenever it is displaced by certain distance, then compression takes place here by the same amount and extension takes place in this spring by the same amount. That's why these two are in parallel. Whenever these two are parallel, effective spring constant is this plus this. That's why K1, K2 by K1 plus K2 plus K3. Okay, this is the effective spring constant in this case. It is the effective spring constant in this case. In this way we can write. Okay. Right. Next note point. Ninth note point. Suppose here it is a spring of spring constant K and a natural length L0. Natural length L0. Here, whenever this end of the spring is moving with a velocity, say V0, with a constant velocity V0 in this direction, one end of the spring is fixed and the other end is pulled with a constant velocity V0 towards right. Then each and every turn in the spring moving like this, no? Whenever one end of the spring is fixed here and the other end is pulled with a constant velocity V0 towards right, then each and every turn in the spring will displace in this direction, so that each and every turn is having velocity. Of course, as this other end is fixed, this end is having zero velocity, but each and every turn in the spring will have some velocity. What is the velocity? What is the velocity of the what is the velocity of any point, any turn or any point in the spring, which is at certain distance, say x from the first end, which is at a distance x from the first end. So from this end, at a distance x, what is the velocity of this point? Suppose this is the point, say P. Then what is the velocity of this point or velocity of this turn here is how much? That is the question. How we can say? In this case, anybody else? Anybody else can say? You see, velocity of this end is 0. Velocity here, whenever this end is moved with a velocity v0 in this direction, then the velocity of each end will also increase with the distance. Here, whenever the distance of the point from the fixed end is more, then velocity of that end is also more. You see, here if distance is more, suppose if you consider the point here, this velocity of the velocity of this turn or this point is greater than this one. As long as when you move in this direction, the velocity gradually decreases. Or from the fixed end, when move in this direction, the velocity linearly increases with the distance. So velocity of any end, velocity of any turn or any point in the spring is directly proportional to, of course, directly proportional to x, or v is equal to some proportionality constant. Here x is not extension. X is not extension. This x is the distance of the point from the fixed end of the spring. Okay. V is equal to some proportionality content mx. Sorry, v is proportional to x, or v is equal to mx plus c. This is equation 1. Some proportionality constant we have. Of course, it is the proportionality constant, and some constant is also there here. Is it 0 or not? We have to check. Okay. Now, whenever x is equal to 0, when x is equal to 0, then what about when x is equal to 0 means v must be 0, no? When x is equal to 0 means this point is here. Then this end of the velocity of this end of the spring is 0. That's why when x is equal to 0, v is equal to 0. When you substitute here, 0 is equal to m into 0, 0 plus c. That implies c is equal to 0. Therefore, you substitute here. In this case, v is equal to simply mx only. This is equation 2. Okay. Here v is equal to simply mx only. In this case, whenever one end is fixed at this point O. Okay. Now, at a distance, here the natural length of the spring is L0, no? Natural length of the spring is L0. From this, it is displaced through with a, it is moved with a velocity v0 towards right. So now at a distance L0, this is L0. At a distance, at the natural length L0, the velocity of this end of the spring is equal to v0. That's why when x is equal to L0, then v is equal to x is equal to L0 means whenever this end is at a distance L0, then velocity is v0, no? Initially, that's why velocity is equal to v0. Therefore, you substitute these values in this equation from 2. V means v0 is equal to m, we have to find. X means L0. Implies m is equal to v0 by L0, no? Therefore, v is equal to m means v0 by L0 into x. Very, very important formula. Here, sometimes they may ask, what is the velocity? Suppose if the velocity of this end of the spring is equal to 2 meters per second, velocity of this end of the spring is equal to 2 meters per second. What is the velocity of this point at this turn or this point at a distance 10 centimeter, 2 centimeter, like that they make you. Then by using this formula, we can calculate, no? By using this formula, we can calculate. Let me say one example. I will explain one example here. Okay, example. One end of the spring is fixed. Okay, here this end of the spring is at a distance L naught is equal to 10 centimeter. Okay, and it is pulled with a velocity V naught is equal to 2 meter per second constant with constant speed. Free end of the spring is pulled towards right with a speed constant speed 2 meter per second, and that point where it is pulled initially at the instant whenever this point is at a distance 10 centimeter, at the time, of course, whenever this point is moving with a velocity V naught, each and every turn except this point, each and every turn will move towards right with certain velocity. So I am asking, what is the velocity of the turn here? What is the velocity of the turn, which is at a velocity of this point P, or velocity of this point P, which is at a distance x is equal to say 4 centimeter. At a distance x is equal to 4 centimeter, what is the velocity of this point? Already I said, whenever one end of the spring is fixed and the other end is pulled with a velocity, constant velocity V naught, then velocity of this end of the velocity of this point of the spring at a distance x from the fixed end is equal to, from the formula. Suppose if you are not having idea about this formula, by this method you derive and then you substitute. From V is equal to V naught by L naught into x. V naught means this is the velocity V naught 2 by L naught means here where the velocity of the spring is given, that at what distance that point lies from the fixed end, that means that is equal to L naught. So L naught means 10 centimeter into, here it is in meter per second, it is centimeter, in centimeter we have substituted, this also is substituted in centimeter because it is the ratio between two lengths, that's why you can substitute directly in centimeter. X means 4, therefore V is equal to 2 5s are 4 by 5. 4 by 5 means 0.8 meter per second. So this point or this turn, which is at a distance 4 centimeter from the fixed end, the velocity of the turn is equal to 0.8 meter per second. In this way we have to do. I think you could understand this one. Yeah, very good. 4 by 5 centimeter per second. Very good. 0.8. Mohit, Sahit, very good. Most of the students responded. Harshit, Karthi, Y53. Karthi 2.0. Like that. Sai Kumar. Okay, very good. Most of you responded. Very good, Nana. Suppose even you change in meters, that will be cancelled, no? In case of any physical quantity, if the ratio is there, we can substitute these two terms in the same system, whether it is a system or CS system, whatever it may be. But whenever the ratio is there, these two must be in the same system, we have to substitute. Suppose if you want to change into meters, into 10 to the power minus 2, we have to write here also 10 to the power minus 2. Minus 10 to the power minus 2, 10 to the power minus 2, cancel. Again, you will have this one. That's why you need not change. Suppose the two ends are also in motion. If the two ends are also in motion, in such case, if two ends are also in motion, how we can find the velocity at any fixed end, at any point? Next one, 10th one, last point. Tenth one. Okay, here these are the two ends of the spring. Here this spring and this end is moving with a constant velocity VB in this direction. This end is moving in opposite direction, say with a constant velocity VA. That means the two ends of the spring are moving like this with different constant velocities like this. Okay, now at a distance x from the end A, what is the velocity of this point, or what is the velocity of the turn in the spring at a distance x from this end? v is equal to question mark. That is the case. Okay, what is the velocity of the one of the turns here at a distance x from the end A? I am talking about the distance of this point from the end A. Sometimes they may ask from the end B. What is the distance? They may ask. Here, initially, whenever the motion is considered, at the time, the distance between these 2 points A and B, that is L0. That is given. Okay. Now you see, no doubt, with respect to any point, the velocity of the with respect to any point, the velocity of each turn is directly proportional to its distance. So v is proportional to x. That's why v is equal to mx plus c. We have to write first previously, as we have written previously. Now whatever m value, c value, we have to substitute. Okay, first of all, at a means the distance of the point is considered from the a only, with respect to a only. That's why x is equal to 0. No, x is equal to 0. And whatever the velocity at a, distance is considered in this direction, whereas velocity is in opposite direction. That's why you write minus va. Then you substitute the data here from 1. V means minus va is equal to m into x0. That's why 0 plus c. Therefore, c is equal to minus va. Above 1 becomes, therefore, from 1, v is equal to mx plus c means minus va we got. This is equation 2. Next, at B, when this point B is at the instant whenever velocities of the two ends are given, at the time the distance of B from the end A is equal to L0. So x is equal to L0 now. At the instant whenever two ends are having velocities like this, then the distance of point B from the end A is equal to L0 now. That's why when x is equal to L0, that means whenever x is equal to L0, x is equal to L0 means this point lies here. Then that point is having velocity VB towards right now. That's why V is equal to VB only we have to write. We substitute there here from 2. V means VB is equal to M into X means L0 minus VA. So from this, VB plus VA is equal to M into L0, or M is equal to VB plus VA by L0. Okay, now we substitute this value in equation 2. Therefore, it is 3. 3 in 2 gives V is equal to M from V is equal to Mx minus Va. That implies V is equal to M means VB plus Va by L0, okay, into X minus Va. This is the general formula for velocity of this point of the spring from at a distance x from the end A. Suppose this end is fixed, Va is equal to 0 no. If the end, this end is fixed, then Va is equal to 0. If you put Va is equal to 0, Va is equal to 0, here is equal to 0, then we will get VB by L0 into X no. In previous case, whenever this end is moving with a velocity V0, then we got V0 by L0 into X. It is the general formula. Suppose here we have considered the velocities like this. If the velocity, this end of the spring is also moving in this direction like this, then we have to substitute VA. We have to substitute velocity of this end A is equal to plus VA only. Then formulas will be different. So by using this concept, you derive the formula for velocity of any point of the spring from the end A. Suppose you may be given the distance, what is the velocity of the point which is at a distance so and so from B, they may ask. We derive this formula from end A, we measure the distance. If they ask the velocity of the point from the end B at a distance from B is equal to so and so X, that is given. Then if this distance is given, as this formula is derived by taking this distance, then if it is X, then this is equal to L0 minus X no. That's why instead of X, you write L0 minus X and then you substitute X value. In that way, we have to do. Okay. Right now, these are the different points related to spring. Tomorrow, we have to discuss whenever the spring is extended, what is the energy stored, etc. We are going to derive. When the spring is to be extended through certain distance, what is the energy stored in the spring? What is the work done on the spring? We have to derive each and every one. Okay. What is your doubt, Satvik? You ask me. Satvik, I will unmute you. You ask me. Satvik.
Sir, can we write in the place of x L naught in the last? We substitute 3 in 2, no sir.
If
We substituted 3 value in 2, no sir.
Suppose if you substitute x is equal to L naught. Okay. If you substitute x is equal to L naught cancel, VA cancel. So VB, that VB, this end is having velocity VB only, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Already by taking these velocities, we have to find the velocity of any turn here at a distance x. Okay. Suppose if you are given the what is the velocity of the point in the spring at a distance so and so from B, they may give. But we derive this. You don't remember the formula. You remember the concept. Sometimes the velocities of the two ends are in the same direction. Suppose if this velocity of this end is in this direction, velocity of this end also in the same direction. In such case, we have substitute plus VA. As it is in opposite direction of this distance x, we have considered minus VA. Suppose if it is this end is also moving in this direction, we have to use plus VA only. Plus VA only we have to substitute there. So the formula will be different. So based on this concept, you have to do. This type of problems are important for advance. Okay. Right now, have a nice day. I'm signing out. I will send all these through WhatsApp group. Okay. Bye.